I will tell you this. In my last 6 years of officiating at the high school level, of which last year I completed my 3rd year at the state championship, I had the privilege of getting a call with James. You know, he didn't have the privilege, I did. All right? We had a good time. We had a good time. But I will tell you this. My closest high school basketball game in the past 6 years was 330 miles away. That was the closest game I traveled to when I was going to a high school basketball game. I don't need your sympathy. I don't need your empathy. I just want you to know that the dedication of what I do is no different than you guys, whether you're traveling 2 to 3 miles. My closest high school basketball game was 330 miles. As I listened to James talk about going to Conroe, Texas, and running up a $200 total bill, my mileage was $225 before I did my first foul. Before I made my first call, I got paid $225. That's some money. I was never scratched in my 12-year career in high school from one school. From one school. I'm proud of that fact. I don't know what that says. Maybe I had enough money to buy off all the coaches. But I was never scratched. And I was never denied the opportunity to come officiate any school that I wanted to officiate in the West Texas area. Not once did one school call and say, we don't want Timmons because he's coming with a $300 bill attached to him. I got to call it. Now, I don't know for the reason. I feel like I paid a lot of dues. There's no substitute for experience. There is absolutely no substitute for experience. I know many of you are in your 5th and 6th year, and you're thinking, I'm pretty darn good. And granted, you probably are. But I can assure you people, all right, until you've been there for the years and years and years, you won't be better. There's a lot of good officials out there, agree? Everybody's a good official. And that's a fact. There's a lot of good officials. Very few of you will aspire to be great officials. Taking the extra steps by being here tonight, on rainy nights when everybody else is sitting at home with the big lazy boy and remote controls on, all right, you guys have dedicated yourself to be here, all right, and listen and learn. And share the same passion that many of you here. It's the camaraderie, people. And as I got into the UIL situation based on the registration officials, and I traveled around, I get to listen to everybody, you know, I realized one thing. We don't care about those issues. We want to get paid for our services. We'd like to have a playoff game every now and then, and we want to referee basketball. Past that, doesn't anything else matter. You know who makes a big deal out of what's going on right now? These people. These people. I can assure you, I have no circles. I don't run in circles. I don't believe in circles. And in case you hadn't checked my background, I don't have a good old boy system. All right? I'm doing what's best for the game of basketball. If it hurts your feelings, I got one thing to tell you. Leave your feelings at the door. Because frankly, I don't care. I will tell you one other thing. For those of you who say, well, by God, I'm just not going to register with the UIL. This is a foul. This is a technical. This is bye-bye. I don't think anybody in here has the time recognition to have to sit here and listen to anybody sell their personal agenda. This is not about personal agenda. Nobody in Houston, nobody in the state of Texas, and especially the UIL is bigger than the game of basketball. And anybody who puts their agendas or their personal feelings or any other wishes, wants, needs, and desires in front of that, all right, is wrong. And as far as I'm concerned, get out of the profession. We don't need you to begin with. All right? As many of you are starting your career here tonight, or your 2nd, 3rd, maybe 4th year, if you think you're leaning towards that direction, leave now. Save us all from one day having to deal with the problems that Houston chapter cannot deal with if you guys are going to be the poster child of how to support and deal with big issues. You can't do it. You can't do it. You cannot sit here and sweat the small stuff. You guys are here tonight to do one thing, call the game of basketball. I congratulate you for that. Now, having said that, let me get to some issues right quick. There's been a lot of talk. Lots of talk. And I'm going to allow some Q&A, and you can fire any question you want to. All right, not a question or not. I'm being recorded, and I won't answer. Okay? We are going to make some drastic changes. All right? The accountability process is going to change. All right? This year we're not going to implement it, but I want you to know what's coming next year, what I feel very firm about doing. And I have a firm conviction about this. The accountability process as a coach is there. If they mess up, whack, whack, wave, they're in Austin, Texas. They're in Austin, Texas. Now, many of you think, well, that's fair, Mr. Timmons. We kind of like that, you know. I don't go across town. He's been giving me a heck for years. I'm prepared to send him. But what has not existed, and for those of you who have found out by getting your ID numbers now, All right? The old style of so-called, now we'll use the term so-called testing, ABAC, ABAD, high five, let's go home. Welcome to a new year. Those days are over. Each one of you are required to put your nose in front of the computer. Put your nose inside that rule book. You will have a better knowledge. Now, do you have the best knowledge? Maybe not. But you will have a definitively better knowledge of the rules under the UL guidance. Absolutely. If you waive a coach and dump a coach next year as a crew, and it's proven that you misapplied a rule, I don't care about your judgment. Daisy, you know I've seen you call. All right, that's not a law. I'm kidding. If your judgment is that bad, I got your back. You understand? I don't care what your foul selection is. I got your back. I got your back all the way to hell and back. You understand? It doesn't matter. I got your back with coaches. Where I cannot get your back is where, Bill? In the rule book. In the rule book. I cannot cover anybody in the state of Texas for any sport in the rule book. When a coach looks at me and says, Tony, I was dumped. I'm coming to Austin. It was my fault. But can you tell me how this rule was misapplied? Guess what? 3 officials are coming to Austin. Coming to Austin. Maybe. We're going to work out the process. We're describing it. We're putting it in the year. We're figuring out what's going to happen. There will be an accountability. And think about it. As I see flags come up, and we don't get a lot of toss coaches, but we do. We do. And as I see coaches get dumped, and I see a flag come up which indicates a misapplied rule, what does that tell me as a director? What does that tell me about the area of Texas that's currently using that process? We got problems. We got rules application problems in that particular area, and we need to address them. And we need to get a better education system in that particular area, in that field. What does it also tell me as pertains to assignment of playoff games? Chances are I'm not coming that direction. Okay? I'm not coming that direction. Let me tell you something, people. The accountability process doesn't affect your people. It affects you as a chapter. It affects you as a chapter. Now, what are you saying? You're saying, no, Mr. Timmons, wait a minute. You're saying that these 3 officials that are bad apples, they pay their dues, they get tossed a coach, misapply the rules, can affect the entire unit? Yeah. It's exactly what I'm telling you. It could happen. Not on a broad scale, but on a scale. So what does that tell you you need to do with those 3 individuals? Better train them up. Better train them up. Now, in the hunting round, I have a pack of dogs, and we run mountain lions. Like I said, I kill off 3 or 60 mountain lions, right? Let me tell you how it works with dogs. I got 10 dogs out there. We run. All 10 of them aren't the same. One dog may try to backtrack. Other dogs may stay on the trail. Other dogs try to divert and go chase other things and go around the line. There's only usually one dog in that pack that I'm looking for. When he barks, the other dogs better listen. All right? But invariably, some of them just don't. And as I take about 2 and 3 and 4 times in a row, and they decide they just don't want to stay on that trail, they just want to catch that cat and put it up a tree, it's not good. Eventually, the dogs aren't there. Okay? We replace those dogs with dogs that do want to hunt. All right? I'm not referring to anybody in this room as dogs, on the record. All right? But people, the process, as well as the problems, are not that big. The solutions, all right, are not Einstein. If they were, I wouldn't be standing here, I can assure you. Okay? I apply what I call a 5-strand barbed wire fence approach. All right? In Texas, I think most of you understand that. All right? It's very practical. It makes sense. It's common. You say, Mr. Timmons, how do I get there? Be great. Be the best. That's how you get there. Now, going back to the state championship and how we're going to completely tear that one completely down. I had a big issue, even though I enjoyed it, and I know James did too, and both James did. But I had a real problem with showing up to the state championship as a state tournament official and being selected as a huge honor, to be there, when only one person in my chapter, for the most part, would get the game. And then I'm given 3 years in a row, regardless of what I do. And as long as I didn't screw up too bad, I got to stay. And when I stepped on the floor, or when they stepped on the floor with me, I had a real issue knowing that I didn't know these other two guys. And I had to call with them in the biggest game of the year at the state championships in Austin, Texas, with 2 guys that I didn't know. Well, it became very evident very quickly that the best way to solve that issue was crews. Football's been doing it, right? Not that football does everything right. They do a lot of things right. Football's been doing it. Why couldn't we do it as crews?